Cardinals is our Total Access game of the week, which means we get a Josh Allen, Kyler Murray QB battle. And here's how the two match up. So Josh Allen, both of them pretty similar here, pretty close when it comes to completion percentage. They have the same number of total touchdowns, but Allen has the higher passer rating with 107.2. Michael Robinson and DeAngelo Hall here with me. And Rob, you called this one, man. You know I'm going to give you your props when your props are due, my friend. But what really impressed you, and how much has Josh Allen improved in your eyes from what you saw?
Yeah, Josh Allen, he's improved last year from this year, but I've seen this young guy improve in season. I think he needs to continue to listen to Elvis Presley. I've heard that he likes to listen to that before games because it has really calmed him down in the pocket. You look at right here, he's going to high-low Jamal Adams right here. Look the safety off, make sure the safety takes the cheese, takes the bait, and then throw it right over his head as he has a vertical going across the other safety's place. I mean, just dropping dimes on this past Sunday. And this is what I love. Max protection. You have everybody in, only 3 guys going out on the route. You look one way, you look the other, but look how he's throwing from a well. Other weeks, he would have ran out of here and tried to create space with his legs. I love what I'm seeing from Josh Allen, just with his quieted feet. And this one is just an epitome of the growth from this young kid from last year to this year. Jamal Adams, one of the best in the business, bearing down on you. It's about to be a sack. He does not panic. He does not take the hit. He does take a small hit and delivers a dime for a touchdown. Here's the other view. I just want you to understand exactly how much pressure this young guy was under as he delivers a dime or a strike for a touchdown. They need more of this. He threw for 415 yards last week against the Seattle Seahawks defense that we know has been giving up a lot of yards. My only issue is this with the Buffalo Bills. 4-minute offense. Can you close out a game? Throwing the football all over the yard, it got you a W this past weekend.
I was looking at those numbers very closely because my opponent in fantasy, had Josh Allen as their QB. We'll get more into that a little later. But DeAngelo Hall, as we look at the other side of this, the Cardinals team, no doubt that Kyler Murray has proven that he is in complete command of that offense, D-Hall.
Oh, yeah, MJ. M-Rob showed us Josh Allen and just the poise that he's shown and the growth that he has. But Kyler Murray, from the moment he stepped into the National Football League, he's proven that he is a problem and that small things come in big packages or big packages come in small sizes because Kyler Murray is just dominating the football field. And when you think about this Bills defense trying to contain him, a little bit different than Russell Wilson that they had to face last week, this kid Kyler Murray is making plays with his feet. You know, M-Rob's been telling me this for years that the quarterback position is changing. Much more athletic guys are coming up the ranks. You've seen it in Little League. When we grew up, the best, most athletic player played the quarterback position, and you're seeing that right now. Teams are drafting these guys out of college who can make plays with their legs as well as their arms, man. And Kyler Murray is a special guy. And you heard him say after that loss to the Dolphins, man, he wasn't satisfied. He wasn't satisfied by any stretch of the imagination. And the kid had 5 incompletions, 21 for 26, over 280 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air, another 100 yards on the ground, and another touchdown. Man, the dudes played awesome, man. In Buffalo, they better get ready because this kid's going to be scrambling all over the place.
No question. And listen, this next wave of young QBs has given us a show over the last couple of weeks. No doubt this week, another one. D-Hall and M-Rob, thanks. But let's take a look at how the playoff picture is shaping up. In the AFC, the Steelers, of course, undefeated, 8-0 in perfect position. The Chiefs, 8-1, Bills, 7-2, Titans, 6-2. And the wild card there would be the Ravens, the Raiders, and the Dolphins. Still in the hunt would be the Browns, the Colts, the Broncos, and the Patriots. On the other side of things, NFC playoff picture, look at the Saints. I'm going to talk to them in just a second. The Seahawks, 6-2, as well as the Green Bay and the Eagles. Wild card would be the Bucs, Cards, and the Rams. In the hunt, we got a whole squad there in the NFC. Now the Saints, yes, they came out last week in beautiful position here in the NFC playoff picture. They came out and showed they are not to be taken lightly.
We're underway here in Tampa Bay.
Breeze hangs in the pocket, throws wide open. Smith for the touchdown.
It's intercepted. Baltimore picks it off, and that ball's going to be picked off. Malcolm Jenkins gets in on the fun. How many interceptions did you tell me Brady had?
That's Adam Troutman for the touchdown.
Touchdown, Emmanuel Emmanuel Sanders. Touchdown, Josh Hill. Brady again under pressure, rolling out. There's right, and he's taken down. The Saints continue to make it look easy.
All right, that game caught a lot of us off guard. Check out PFF's NFC South division probabilities heading into that Saints-Bucks game. If the Bucks would have won Sunday night, they would have gone up to a 79% chance of winning the division. With the loss, they go down to 36%. But because the Saints won, they now have a 63% chance of winning that division. All right, let's give a big NFL Total Access hello to Chris Collinsworth, who's joining us today. Of course, Maurice Jones-Drew as well, but I mean, Chris is in the building. No disrespect, MJD. We'll get that to a little bit. All right. You called the Saints and Bucks game on Sunday night, Chris, and saw the craziness firsthand, without question. Very off-brand performance, I would say, for the Buccaneers. 3 points. I mean, nobody expected that. Who are the Bucks, and what was the biggest takeaway for you from that matchup?
Is the game over yet? That would be my first question, because it felt like it's like Al and I are like, how many stories do we have left in the bucket that we can tell here? I mean, that game was over so fast, and you just never see that with Tom Brady, right? I mean, that just never happens. And this team that is so used to running the football effectively, going with some play action off of it, blitzing on the defensive side. And I think I'm correct in saying this now. Tom Brady has 7 interceptions on the year, and 5 of them by the Saints. He had 2 in the first game, 3 in this game. So maybe it's just one of those matchup issues. They were missing their guard, Ali Marpet, who without question is their best offensive lineman and the best left guard in football. Maybe that made them shy away, maybe because they were behind. But let's give the New Orleans Saints a little credit. They beat them every way you can beat a team. I mean, they had Tom Brady on his back. He was under pressure. He was really struggling to get anything going. And I think the thing that surprised me more than anything else, MJ and MJD, is that they didn't fire back. You know, I mean, usually when you get behind in the game, you go, oh, what the heck, man, let's just sit in the house. Let's try and get a sack fumble. Let's try and get something. They actually did it once, and Shaq Barrett got one, and they went down and they couldn't score from 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. So very uncharacteristic. In horse racing in Kentucky, they say, throw it out, right? Every once in a while, it's one of those games. Don't watch the tape. Put it in the garbage can. Just throw that race out. And I think that's what we're going to have to do here with this. And other than that, maybe just the matchup was horrible.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Chris. When you watch the game, and you did a phenomenal job really talking about it, the Saints were just more aggressive and more physical. And at the end of the day, that's what football, that's how you're going to win games. They got after the quarterback. Yes, you had some injured offensive linemen, but when that happens, you want to lean on your running game more. And obviously, Ronald Jones got taken out quickly. They started leaning on Leonard Fournette, their 3rd down back a little bit. But, I mean, this defense just got after Tom Brady. They just got after everyone. And I felt like it was more because you brought in Antonio Brown. You wanted to kind of show off your new toy. I heard you and Al Michaels talk about that. He needs to fit into this offense. The offense doesn't need to fit him. And I think that's where you got a little some issues going on there. Hopefully they can figure that out, because New Orleans right now is riding high, and we all picked the Bucks. So I was one of the guys that picked the Bucks. So I know you Saints fans are upset. But right now, I tell you what, New Orleans is the top team in the NFC, and they're playing like it.
No doubt, MJD. Don't worry. You weren't alone. I picked them, too. We all did. I think Cynthia Freeland was the only one here who picked the Saints. Yeah. But speaking of the Saints, absolute domination by that team in that game. Chris, where do they rank to you among the NFL's best teams?
They flip-flopped. I mean, I was with you guys. I was beginning to think that Tampa Bay might well be the best team in football, that it wasn't a matter for me where they were. It was where I thought they could be, what they were getting everybody back healthy, and they could do so many things so well. But let's face it, and let's give credit to the New Orleans Saints. They were phenomenal. Drew Brees, he had a slow start to the season, and people were justified in saying he is check down Charlie and he's not throwing it down the field. But the last 5 weeks, that 10 to 20 yard intermediate kind of area. Now he's got Emmanuel Sanders, he's got Michael Thomas back, and he's got arguably one of the best players in football in Alvin Kamara. They have a lot of ways that they can beat you. And they didn't even really have to do it with Kamara the other night. They were able to diversify the offense, and all those things I was thinking about Tampa Bay, going into this game, I came out of the game thinking about the New Orleans Saints. Are they the best team in football now?
Yeah, well, Chris, I'll say this. I don't know about the best team in football because it seems like the AFC, they just play a different brand up there. You talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their defense and what they've been able to do. The Kansas City Chiefs, my favorite team now. Patrick Mahomes letting it rip. I just feel like they may be the best team in the NFC, but when you kind of pair them to the Baltimore Ravens and the teams that play that smash mouth style of football, it's a little bit different. So we had this conversation in our call earlier with Mike Robb and D. Hall. The AFC is just playing a different brand, and I can't wait to see how this matches up down the road because guess what? The Chiefs do play the Saints in a couple weeks.
Yeah. All right. Listen, this game, we could go on and on about what could have happened, what didn't happen, who was wrong, who was right. But let's switch gears because the Saints take on the 49ers this week. Now, Chris, you've got a podcast with Richard Sherman, one of my favorites, covered him very closely when I was in San Francisco. Let's take a listen to a fun exchange you guys had about Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl 54.
In the Super Bowl, he threw a slant to Tyreek Hill. You know, I was guarding him. I was bailing because we were in the coverage, and I broke before Tyreek broke, and because I knew where the ball going. I knew what he was about to do. And as I'm breaking to the catch point. So I'm breaking where Tyreek's going. Like it's a slant. I'm about to beat you to the point, and I'm thinking I'm about to intercept the ball. He's midway through the throw and pulls it back towards Tyreek and stops Tyreek in his route. And and you can never see it in like from the naked eye or from the camera view, but it freaking blew me away because I was almost fully committed. I'm fully committed to like, I'm about to intercept this ball and I'm about to go to the house.
I love how Sherm recaps stories. I was like, and then what happened, Sherm? Chris, what have you learned from Richard during your podcast?
Exactly that. He's one of the great storytellers around. You know, he grew up in Compton. And his mom was such a favorite of the neighborhood kids. Whether you were in a gang or anything else, his mom took care of everybody. And the reward for taking care of all those kids in the neighborhood, no matter what their issues were, that they refused to let Richard and his brother into gangs. And Richard went on to be salutatorian at his high school. He's a brilliant guy. You can tell from the conversation. Went on to Stanford. Everything he says about the league, I go, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And so I think that every single week, I just kind of learn something new from him. I just think he's going to be a media superstar whenever he's ready to do it.
Whenever he's ready now. He already is one of the guys that you know you can go to. He's always going to keep it real and tell it to you 100%. All right, MJD and Chris, both of you hang on because we have a lot more, and we'll get to pick Chris Collinsworth's brain a little later. Coming up next, how one game can change everything.
The defense puts the Ravens right back in the game.
The Ravens avoided a second straight loss in Indy. The Patriots avoided total disaster in Jersey.
It's good, and time expires.
This week, they can't avoid each other. Chris Collinsworth will call that game Sunday night. He'll call out the matchup to watch after the break. We'll also show you why a Thursday night tie isn't out of the question. Plus, is the AFC's top seed not